Time doesn't announce the moment your life changes. It doesn't ring a bell. It doesn't arrive with fireworks or dramatic music. Most transformations begin quietly, almost invisibly, with something so small you'd normally ignore it. One decision, one habit, one tiny shift repeated daily. And months later, you wake up in a life you barely recognize. That's what this video is about. Because most people aren't failing due to a lack of intelligence, talent, or motivation. They're stuck because they're chasing big changes while ignoring the small behaviors that secretly control everything. If you've ever felt behind in life, if you've ever promised yourself, "This week I'll be different," only to fall back again. If you've ever felt like time is moving fast but you're standing still, you're not broken, you're just missing leverage. By the end of this video, you'll understand 7 tiny habits that quietly reshaped my life. Habits so simple they feel almost too easy, yet powerful enough to change how you think, work, and live. Not overnight, but permanently. Stay with me until the end because the final shift ties everything together. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Most people live in reaction mode. They wake up already behind. They check their phone before they check in with themselves. They spend their best energy responding to other people's priorities. Then at night, they wonder why they feel exhausted but unfulfilled. The truth is uncomfortable. Your life is not shaped by your goals. It's shaped by your defaults. What you do when no one is watching. What you do when you're tired. What you do when motivation disappears. Tiny habits matter because they don't require motivation. They require alignment. And the first habit changed everything for me. I stopped starting my day with consumption. No phone, no notifications, no news, no social media, just 10 quiet minutes. First, it felt boring, almost pointless. But that discomfort was the signal. Psychology shows that the first input of your day primes your nervous system. When you start with chaos, your brain stays reactive. When you start with silence, your mind becomes intentional. Those 10 minutes weren't about productivity. They were about ownership. I'd sit with a notebook. Sometimes I'd write one sentence, sometimes nothing at all. But every day I reminded myself, my attention belongs to me before it belongs to the world. And slowly something shifted. I felt calmer. Decisions felt clearer. My day stopped controlling me. Ask yourself this: who owns your attention in the first 10 minutes of your day? The second habit seems almost laughably small, but it dismantled procrastination at its root. I stopped trying to finish tasks. I only focused on starting for 2 minutes. Just 2. Psychologically, your brain resists large commitments because it associates them with pain and effort. But it barely resists tiny ones. 2 minutes of reading, 2 minutes of writing, 2 minutes of movement. Most days, 2 minutes turned into 20. But even when it didn't, the habit still counted. This rewired my identity. I stopped seeing myself as someone who tries and started seeing myself as someone who shows up. Consistency beats intensity every time. Not because it's exciting, but because it's reliable. Let me ask you something. What would happen if you lowered the bar enough to actually step over it every day? The third habit wasn't about doing more. It was about removing friction. I designed my environment to make good choices easier and bad choices harder. This is behavioral psychology in action. Willpower is unreliable. Environment is not. I placed a book on my pillow so reading became the default at night. I kept junk food out of sight and fruit in plain view. I put my phone in another room when working. Nothing dramatic, nothing extreme, but behavior follows design. When you stop relying on discipline and start relying on systems, life gets lighter. Here's a thought worth sitting with. Is your environment supporting the life you want or silently sabotaging it? The fourth habit was uncomfortable at first, but it gave me something most people never experience. I learned to end my day with a single honest reflection. One question, every night. What did I do well today? Not what went wrong, not what I failed at. Just one win. Your brain is wired to focus on threats and mistakes. This habit rewires that bias. It trains your mind to recognize progress instead of only problems. Over time, I noticed something powerful. My confidence stopped depending on outcomes. It started depending on effort. Even bad days had dignity. This wasn't toxic positivity. It was psychological balance. Ask yourself tonight, if you had to name one thing you did right today, what would it be? The fifth habit changed how I related to time. I stopped trying to manage my entire life and started protecting one daily, non-negotiable. One block of time, even if it was just 20 minutes, dedicated to something that moved my life forward. No multitasking, no distractions, no compromises. This became sacred. Research shows that progress on meaningful goals reduces anxiety more than rest does, because progress restores agency. That daily block became proof that no matter how chaotic the world felt, I was still moving. You don't need more time. You need protected time. So ask yourself, what deserves a daily appointment with your future? The sixth habit was subtle, but it reshaped my emotional resilience. I stopped narrating my life negatively. No more "I'm lazy." No more "I always fail." No more "this is just how I am." Language isn't neutral. It shapes identity. Cognitive psychology shows that the words you use become the lens through which you experience reality. When you change the narration, you change the meaning. Instead of "I'm bad at this," I'd say, "I'm learning." Instead of "I can't focus," I'd say, "I'm practicing focus." This wasn't lying to myself. It was choosing accuracy over self-attack. Here's a question most people never ask. Would you speak to a friend the way you speak to yourself? The seventh habit was the quiet foundation beneath all the others. I learned to keep promises, especially small ones, to myself. Not big dramatic goals, small commitments. If I said I'd walk for 5 minutes, I did it. If I said I'd stop working at a certain time, I honored it. Each kept promise built trust. Each broken promise eroded it. Self-trust is the currency of confidence. When you trust yourself, discipline becomes natural. When you don't, everything feels hard. This habit taught me something essential. The relationship you have with yourself determines the quality of every other relationship in your life. Now comes the mindset shift that ties everything together. Most people think habits are about productivity. They're not. Habits are about identity. Every tiny action is a vote for the type of person you believe you are. When you wake up without your phone, you vote for presence. When you start for 2 minutes, you vote for consistency. When you protect time, you vote for self-respect. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall or climb to the level of your systems. And the most powerful system is the one that aligns who you are with what you do daily. You don't need to change your entire life. You need to change what you repeat. Quietly, patiently, relentlessly. As we come to the end, remember this. The people who change their lives aren't the ones who wait for motivation. They're the ones who design their days. If even one habit from this video resonated with you, start there. Just one. Let it be small enough to feel easy. Let it be consistent enough to feel real. If this video helped you see growth differently, support the channel by liking it. It helps more than you think. Subscribe if you want more deep, practical insights into habits, mindset, and self-mastery. And comment below, which tiny habit are you starting today? Because the future version of you isn't built by massive decisions. It's built by what you choose, again, tomorrow morning.